Chavez here.
I'm Karen Lesiewicz.
And welcome to CITIUS MAG live at the Prefontaine Classic. We've got a good crowd out here getting ready for tomorrow's loaded slate of races. Karen, this is your first time in Eugene.
This is my first time in Eugene, and that's a nice way to say I've never been to nationals as a former collegiate runner, but I've been enjoying it so much. I think you messaged me yesterday, you're like, hey, where you at? I was like, well, I'm at Pre's Rock, and then I just did Pre's Trail, so...
Everything pre.
Everything pre. Prefontaine Classic, so I'm immersed, and I'm excited to be here.
We've got tons of great races coming up tomorrow. Is there one that you're looking forward to the most?
Oh my gosh, so many iconic races, so much talent here. I think, you know, who can't talk about the big dance, the big race? When you even say, you know, are you excited for the big race?
I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
You know which one I'm talking about. And I am so excited to watch the mile. We've got some incredible talents here. And I mean, it's one-stop shop short of like a world championship final.
Olympic final, yeah.
Exactly.
All right, so today, obviously, there was a big press conference where it was American record holder Yared Nuguse,
right,
Olympic champion Jakob Ingebrigtsen, world champion Josh Kerr, and there were some fireworks, not a ton.
Yeah.
I think these guys are keeping the cards really close to their chest before tomorrow's race.
Right.
What did you make of just sort of the body language and what these athletes were saying in the press conference?
You know, I thought it was interesting. I think, to me, the most noteworthy person there was Yared Nuguse just hanging back. I think he's going to be that silent killer. He seemed to just almost be there as like a witness to the tension, and there was a lot going on for him in his mind. I think he could be someone to definitely watch out for to break that tape. I don't know. What about you? What did you think? What was the energy?
Yeah, so I mean, like, I don't know. I'm trying to like read between the lines. Do I think Jakob Ingebrigtsen is at 100%? I don't know. Do I think Josh Kerr is like firing on all cylinders? Absolutely. So I think that no matter what, we're in for a treat.
Yeah.
I want to do, on the count of three, who do we think wins tomorrow?
Okay.
All right? One, 2, 3. The fans. Yeah, the fans are the people who win tomorrow because no matter what, it's going to be very entertaining. But all right, but who is your actual prediction?
All right, with so many key players, I mean, you can't count out, you know, Whiteman, for example. The last time he was here, he left with a gold medal, right?
So you're going with the guy who wasn't even in the press conference.
I love going with the guy that wasn't even there. And he, to me, I don't know if you saw his post-race interview last week after the LA Grand Prix, ran an incredible 800. He came out and said, you know, if this is anything like going into my 2022 season and people counted me out, I wasn't relevant. He's like, so be it. I'm ready to hit it again and make my mark. So
I was not expecting that. But I'm going to pick a very boring pick. I'm going to probably pick world champion Josh Kerr to kind of keep the momentum going. But, you know, one of the key things I did ask sort of each one, or I asked Josh and Jakob Josh and Yared was, is the winner of tomorrow's race the favorite for the Olympic Games? And both of them kind of were saying yes, because, you know, I think this meet comes at a very pivotal moment just in the season where we're a month away from the Olympic trials, which will be back here, super exciting. And then right after that, the Olympic Games.
Right after that, the Olympic Games, and, you know, these teams aren't guaranteed, you know, especially for Yared. He's got to almost peak at multiple times, right? If he's the favorite for, you know, making it to the Olympics, like, he's also got to make it through the trials. So I'm sure the training is you know, very intense right now, and they're at all stages of fitness possibly, but a great race nonetheless.
Are there any other races, particularly on the women's side? What are you looking out for?
Right, plenty of other races. You know, that 800, we had some devastating news, you know, from a thing Mo coming out this week saying she's battling some hamstring soreness. So that was a bummer, but, you know, there's still an incredible 800 race with Marion Keeley going back at it head to head. You know, I'm rooting for Keeley because she hasn't gotten that, you know, that gold yet with much. You know, her and a thing and Mary have been head to head, and so of course I'm rooting for her. But how about you? Anything else on the radar?
I think the women's 100 is just going to be very electric. We've got Sha'Carri Richardson opening up at the first 100 of the year, and then Elaine Thompson-Herrock back at the same track where she ran 10.5 2 years ago. And it's sort of just like, this is the part of the year where it's like you can make a big statement for where you're at fitness-wise, who are going to be the favorites going into the trials. And so, it's after this weekend, I think, like, it's when the predictions start to get really fun.
Right. This is a good, it's a good test to see where things are at, but by no means can you count anyone in or out yet. You know, there's still a lot of season to be left to run before the trials.
So for you, I guess, taking in sort of Hayward Field, you walked in for the first time. What was your first thought of this cathedral for track and field in America?
Oh, God. Well, my first thought was, Karen, put your phone down and enjoy it, right? Take it in. So that was my first thought. But it was incredible. You can see why it's electric. You can see why it's magic. I mean, they call it the magic of Hayward, and I think you step in, and without even the fans being in there, you can tell why it lights up, and why these athletes want to come out here, right, time and time again to perform here, because I think it brings electricity, and that's thanks to you guys. So thank you guys for coming out here for the pre-show.
I'm really curious. All right, so of course there's going to be raise of hands, who's from Oregon? Because I'm guessing that's going to be the biggest turnout we have. All right.
Okay.
Who's from East Coast who came out for this meet? Wow. Oh. There we go. East Coast.
Yeah. For a second, I was like, okay, I see you guys all congregated by each other, but then we saw some over there. All right.
Who traveled the farthest? I want to hear just people shouting out where they came from just for this meet. I hear Louisiana, New Jersey, Rhode Island. All right. We're very well represented here.
Yes.
At the Pre-Classic. Well, we do have a good set of, if you came all the way from Jersey, like I presume you bought tickets before you got here, but if in the off chance there are some fans who don't have tickets yet for tomorrow's meet, we do have a good set of tickets here for section 119. So if you are interested in a pair of tickets, find us right after the show and we'll give them to you. So I know that there's not that many, so first come, first serve for sure. All right, so Karen, like for you, watching the other athletes who were at the press conference, like what were some of the more entertaining stories and personalities that you picked up on?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, I think obviously what's going to get a lot of attention, is the mile, and that's the iconic race. But to me, it's the storylines of how everyone got here and like where they've been. Katie Moon in the pole vault. She's just an incredible athlete, and I loved hearing her talk. Even just about giving back. She talked a little bit about how
she's got a meet coming up in Ohio.
Meet coming up in Ohio. She talked about clinics she's put on for like the kids that were younger in high school and up and coming. And to me, it's all about those stories, about the people who want to give back and want to contribute to the sport in the same way it's contributed to them. So that was one of my favorite moments. But yeah, anything stand out to you?
I think Joe Kovacs, my guy. I think a lot of people who have been following CITIUS for a long time know Joe is a good friend of mine, and just the fact that he's toyed with the idea of retirement every season. He's one of those athletes who could go out on top with a medal, but the sport always draws him back. Last year was a little bit of a challenging year for him, just kind of being a dad, balancing that, kids getting COVID, I think like right before the Prefontaine Classic, but he ended the season with the win at the Diamond League final and was able to open up last weekend in Los Angeles throwing the same distance, and so he's picking up right where he left off, and I'm always going to back him for gold. I know that there's people here from Oregon who are probably like die-hard Ryan Krauser fans, but I'm pulling for my guy Joe this year in the shot put.
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, a question I kind of had was, we had the LA Grand Prix last week. Some of these athletes are doubling back just a week later. Do we think that's going to play into performances? Do you think people are going to be tired?
Oh, that's a good one. I don't know, like you're sort of like, I feel like the adrenaline will carry you, and just like the stage, like this is even more of an elevated experience. Like, yes, Drake Stadium, UCLA, it's awesome, but this is, where champions have been crowned not that long ago, and this is, a dress rehearsal in a sense for the Olympic trials.
Right, and how many rounds, do you have to run at the Olympic trials, right? It's not a one and done. These people need to, go through so many rounds, and they exert themselves. It's sometimes who can go through those rounds successfully the best that makes it,
Yeah. So, the beauty of this sport is that just sort of it's cast over every single one of the disciplines. You are getting a preview of the stars that we will see in Paris in just 2 months. So a good opportunity for you to get firsthand exposure to some of those athletes.
Yeah, absolutely. And buy into their storyline. Find a new athlete that you didn't even know you wanted to win. And I think it's just like fall in love with their story, to me, has been incredible. And to me, that's what social media has given us. Being able to follow some of these athletes and their journey from start to finish, getting an inside look to their lives and their training, I think has been so fun to follow. So
who are some of your favorite social media follows among the athletes?
Oh gosh, especially competing here today, you know, and we're going to have them on later, but I love Nikki Hiltz. They have been killing it, following along. I think just, you know, the journey of start to finish. They said today, you know, what was it about, and we'll talk to them about this later, but, you know, Nikki was here as a student holding the tape.
10 years ago, I think.
10 years ago. And now they're in the race where, you know, turning that corner, there's going to be the tape. And I think following stories like that have been incredible. And of course, Josh, you know, and his series has been fun to see. So it's been good to get that behind the window look.
Yeah, no. So for it's cool because we're getting just so many new things, I think, being, you know, coming into the sport. It's an exciting time. World Championships, Olympics, World Championships, you know, tons of great momentum before the games come back to the United States in 2028.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah. And I was going to say too, you know, especially with the social media and, you know, just getting the inside look to people's lives. I mean, talk about some moms here that are killing it. Ellie Purrier, who's coming out in the, you know, women's 1500 this tomorrow. I'm so excited to watch someone like her just dominate, because we have people from all, you know, you just don't know what someone was doing last night. Were they putting a toddler to sleep? Were they, you know, kidless and, you know, they're not doing something like that? I think everyone's coming with different, you know, baggage to not, you know, be negative about it. And people bring their lives here as professional athletes and they put it all on the line. So she's also someone I think we got to look out for in that mile. I think she's coming with a vengeance.
1500 is going to be pretty good. And I think we're going to be joined pretty soon by like our first guest. I think I could spot them just down the road. But no, yeah, to your point, like those races are going to be fast. I think like just because of how many Americans are in it, it's like we're going to have, you know, takes right after. It's, oh, this person looked really good to me this weekend. This person, maybe not as much. What do they have to do in the weeks in between to get back in the conversation to make the team? That's ultimately, I think, what really makes the sport exciting, when you are able to follow along with all of the storylines. So I guess like the biggest piece of advice, and we kind of just harp on this all the time, is pick your favorites, root for them, follow along with their seasons. Once you follow the athletes on, you know, social media, you're more attuned to like what is coming up and you know what the story has been. And so yeah, it's great. All right, I think we've got our first guest. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Come on up.
All right.
We are joined now by last year's U.S. champion in the 1500 meters, recently came away with a silver medal in the 1500 at the World Indoor Championships, Nikki Hiltz. Nikki, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Is it on?
You got it.
There you go.
Thanks for having me. Hi, Karen.
Hi. I was going to say, speaking of Nikki, we just talked about, you know, about 10 years ago, you know, not to scare you with a number, but, you know, you talked about on social media today, 10 years ago, you were holding that tape. You know, tomorrow you're going to be turning around that corner, looking at that tape. What's that like in your mind when you see that?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Like, it's crazy how dated 2014 looks, you know? No, I mean, it's really exciting. I was injured at the time, and all my teammates were at West Regionals trying to qualify for NCAAs, and I was, you know, here in a boot, and just volunteered, and somehow I got the awesome job of holding the finish line tape with one of my other teammates, and it was just so exciting, and I was like, oh, I would love to race here one day. And like, for whatever reason, I haven't ever ran this race before, and now it's my first time, and it's really full circle 10 years later. So yeah, I'm excited.
For where you are in your professional career, it feels like every single year just continues to get more and more exciting. Just last year, you know, getting invited to the Oslo Diamond League and then just winning a U.S. title. Like for you, like what are these moments kind of like? And it just like every year seems to step it up in terms of excitement for you.
Yeah, I mean, it really wasn't that long ago where I was like begging to get into Diamond Leagues and, you know, pleading my case. And I remember it was, exactly a year ago I got into Oslo, and I was like, I want to make the most of this opportunity. Like, you don't get these opportunities that often. And then ever since, I feel like my career's really taken off. And so, I think it's been hard to process at times how quickly it's all happened. But I keep reminding myself this is always where I've wanted to be. I've always, you know, wanted to be a U.S. champ or American record holder. And I still feel a little bit of like pinch me sometimes, but I'm just trying to enjoy the moment and just do what I love doing, which is racing.
How do you not get nervous? Or are you nervous?
Are you hiding it really well?
Yeah, right?
I get very nervous. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I do this so much. Like, we do this so much. Like, and this is the fun part of the job. Like, I'm not super a big fan of training, but I do feel like the past couple years I've really like put my head down and like kind of learned to love the training. But yeah, it was something I had to learn to love, whereas racing has always been something that like, yeah, I just feel alive, and it's the funnest part of the sport. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, I would love to know what's been a defining factor? You know, you've made these incredible strides over the last few years. Is there something that stands out that, you know, you're doing differently, and what's, you know, what are you bringing to the race tomorrow that you think is the differentiating factor? I
don't know. I mean, I moved to altitude in 2022, and it's such a game changer. Like 7,000 feet sucks. It's so hard to run up there. And I don't know. I wish I could pinpoint one thing. I mean, that's a huge thing that I do think has really helped me. But it's a culmination of just years and years of really healthy training and consistency. And yeah, I don't know. I wish I could pinpoint it to one thing. But I don't know. I think it's the culmination of it all.
Right. Sometimes it's good when you can't find one thing. You're like, I think it's a lot of different, you know, a lot of things going right.
How, speaking of training, how has, you know, kind of training been going for this race in particular? And what are the things that you've kind of been focusing on since, you know, the World Indoor Championships?
Yeah, I think, yeah, it's been going really well. Like I'm really fit right now. And so I'm really excited to hopefully prove that fitness tomorrow. And
that's what goes like on the bottom of like a screen. Nikki Hiltz, really fit right now. Yeah.
And totally not nervous.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I think just more like, indoors was a lot of like, I know people say this all the time, but like hadn't really touched speed work. Like, it was a lot of like just base training, and now ever since then I think it's been more specific work, and yeah, doing 1500 specific stuff, 800 specific stuff, shifting. You know, I just like we're gonna like we run really fast in the 15, and you have to learn how to shift off an already fast pace, and so practicing that in practice. So I don't know. Yeah, it's been going good.
What's the buzz on like how fast, you know, your competitors are thinking of going?
I don't know. I'm not staying in the meet hotel, so I haven't really talked to anyone about it.
Oh, there's a hotel. All right. Well, Chris and I are not there.
I don't know, but I mean, the Rabbit's going 2:04 through the 8, so I imagine 62s for as long as we can. Wow. I don't know, which is what, 3:53-ish. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just going along for the ride.
Speedy. Yeah. Well, you know what I think is going to help is a speed suit, which you have been rocking. I said to Chris, I think speed suit stock has just skyrocketed ever since you entered with it on the scene. And I know you were teasing the fans on Instagram that there may be something new we can expect for you for
what's
tomorrow.
Up?
It's still a speed suit. I'll just say that. It's just a fun new look. It's really cool.
How has that been, I guess, for you to be involved in the creative process, you know, with Lulu, your sponsor?
Yeah, it's been awesome. I mean, Tara and I and Colleen last September, we were in Vancouver, which is Lululemon's headquarters. And, you know, we met with this couple of designers, and we each got to pick out 3 speed suits or 3 uniforms that we wanted to wear. And then slowly, like, I got sent my blue one in February, and I got sent my one tomorrow, like last week. And so it's just really, really awesome to be with a brand that like is so, it's so personalized. It's all the uniforms are cut to our dimensions, and like we got to pick out the style and like what the back looks like. And yeah, I don't know. It's just so fun. Like it's living the dream.
So what else are you trying to take in on this trip to Eugene? Obviously, we come back here like every other week, it feels like. But like for this trip in particular, like what are you looking forward to the most?
Looking forward to just being in Hayward and feeling that magic. And, you know, I haven't raced here since USA's last year. And, yeah, I don't know. Just the Hayward magic. Like I think I'm really excited to watch a really good track meet and be a part of one of the many good events. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, Nikki, we'll let you go, get off your feet and just kind of take in, you know, you've got tons of fans here. I'm sure lots of selfies and pictures. But thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank
Nikki
you.
Nikki Hiltz, everybody.
Thanks,
thank
guys.
you so much. Yeah. Thank you. All
right, we'll be joined by another guest shortly.
Perfect.
starting to rain a little bit. Oh, we got free rain jackets for us.
Excellent.
Wow. The people,
Perfect.
the people of Eugene are so thankful. They'll take their jackets off their backs just for us.
Yeah, the giving people.
I like
I was
my
expecting
outfit.
there to be a duck on it, though. I'm not going to lie. Those ducks are everywhere. I'm a duck fan now, but.
All right. And now we're going to be joined by our next guest, Olympic gold medalist in discus, Valarie Allman will be joining us. Let's give it up for Valarie Allman, everybody.
Woo! All right, Val. Making an incredible entrance here. Wow. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Come on down.
Val, I'm sorry it's raining.
I know this feels like the perfect welcome to you. So.
Right now, I have a for the discus. I imagine like with running when it's raining like this, it can feel so epic. Do you get that at all with the discus and it starts raining?
Yeah, I would have to say rain is probably like the hardest thing to navigate as a discus thrower because it gets slippery and then you're spinning and that is like one of the most like challenging spaces. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
Yeah. Less superpowers in the rain and the wind. That's when we really like can shine. Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
All right, so what are you looking forward to the most on this trip to Eugene?
What a good question. I genuinely am so excited to be in Eugene. I felt like I'd felt maybe a little bit of fatigue in Eugene after like the end of 2022. But this time I feel like I have that like magic back. Our field for discus is stacked. We have so many world champions, Olympic champions, medalists that I think it's going to be a really intense competition. And knowing that this is where Olympic trials is, I want to be at my best. I want to gain that confidence, that momentum, especially because we're getting into like the heart of the season where you really want to feel like things are starting to click.
Yeah.
Well, you talk about the heart of the season and you talk about the trials, for someone who isn't as familiar, with the throwing events and the discus as running, what does that buildup look like? Meaning, obviously, you want to perform well at the trials, but for someone like you, sights are set beyond that as well. Is there a taper? What does that buildup look like for you?
Yeah, so much of discus is like a feeling. You want to have that feeling that your timing, your rhythm, your connection with the implement is just like very strong. So as a thrower, probably like the two biggest components of our training is throwing, which we do a lot, and then also lifting. So as we get closer, the lifting will become a little bit less intense and you'll start to feel like more connected to your body, which then hopefully ends up meaning that more of that energy will go into the discus.
Wow.
So far this season, how have things been clicking? A little bit of a scare like this past weekend? Walk us through. That Instagram post was alarming a little bit.
Yeah, I felt really excited about how the season's been going. My coach Zeb has come up with a great plan that I feel like things have just been really clicking, and I've really been enjoying this year. I think sometimes, honestly, the last 2 years, I think I've put a bit too much pressure on myself, and this year it just feels fresh. It feels exciting, and I've definitely been, I feel like, being a lot more present, which just has made like the journey all the more rewarding. But I definitely got a hit with a dose of reality and a scare in the weight room. I felt this like really strange sensation kind of in my spine. And then just tons of pain after. So I got imaging done, and thankfully it's just like a bunch of kind of swelling in there and I'm good. But it definitely reminded me that I'm grateful to do what I love and just got to take it one meet at a time, not look at the Olympics like it's right around the corner, but there's a lot between now and then and just got to take it day by day.
Does Tokyo feel like yesterday, or does it feel like far away because we've had Budapest and Eugene in between?
It feels like a lifetime ago. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. That Olympics, it was so special and it was also so intense that I think it really was one of those moments in my life where it shaped so much of my identity really quickly that then I think so much of the last 2 years was actually figuring out okay, who am I as a competitor, as a human when I walk into a stadium and I'm getting ready to compete, that I think now it's I feel in some ways it's really my first Olympics, with the fact my family's going to be there and the trials are such a big deal that I just feel this sense of joy that it's an Olympic year.
Yeah, and I mean, you talked about even just the competition here for you and how great it is. What do you say to, some of the people just starting out, some of the women in this category, just someone who has, achieved so much at a world stage? What do you say to them who are just starting out?
Oh, gosh. I mean, I think anytime you're pursuing a passion, right, so much of it is like being willing to be uncomfortable. I think that that really is what shapes so much of our most meaningful life experiences. So just be willing to try new things, to lean in, to feel what it's like to push yourself or be uncomfortable. I think that it's only in those moments you can really figure out what you love, if what you're doing is the right thing. And it oftentimes leads to seeing way more potential in yourself than you even knew was possible.
So we've got, the Netflix cameras following around the sprinters, and then we've got drama in the press conference for the men's mile. But, a couple months back, we had done a podcast with Loggy, and she said the women's discus this year is going to be a dogfight. And so for one of the key players in that, I guess for some of the people here who may be in attendance, can you just kind of describe for us the scene of the women's discus right now and just how intense in a way it is and entertaining for hey, guys, tune in. This is actually a really good competition this year.
Yeah. I feel put on the spot for having to describe myself and my competitors. So here in Hayward, there are 6 athletes that will be competing. Myself, I'm the Olympic champion, which is awesome. And
Give it up for the Olympic champion. Yeah.
But my big goal this year is I want to improve. I really want to set a PB. So that is what the thing I'm in the hunt for. The last year's World Championship, another American won a gold medal, which is huge for our country, Loggy. And she will be competing. So we have a very good rivalry going, and we'll see each other many times this season on both the national level and the international stage, which is exciting. Sandra Perkovic just got married. Actually, I think I say her last name now, Elksovic. I'm not really sure. She's Croatian. Wow. I will ask her. She's a double Olympic champion. She's incredible. She's here. There's a world championship champion from 2019 from Cuba. Our field is just stacked. And the world leader, the current world champion, the Olympic champion, the previous Olympic champion, we're all competing at the same time, which in our event is really special. Normally there's either one dominant person or careers end and new careers start. So the fact that there's so many active women competing, it really is an exciting time in women's discus.
Yeah. Tune in, people. It's going to be exciting.
You got me excited. I'm ready. I'm tuned in.
That was a hard question to describe. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
So Val, between now and the trials, what are you hoping to get out of the competition tomorrow? We got the fire department. They're fired up for the women's discus too. They're that competition's going to be fire. All right, so between now and the trials, are there little tiny things that you're working out in tomorrow's competition, or what are you kind of looking to fine tune in the month to go until the trials?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a bunch of things right now that I'm excited to keep working on. In women's discus, 70 meters is kind of that big mark that we're all striving for. So for me, if I can get closer to that 70 meter mark in my competitions consistently, it's really going to give me good confidence by the time that the Olympics come. For me right now, my technique is just kind of the thing that we always keep coming back to, figuring out how to get more energy to go into the discus. So a lot of times if you're kind of watching the discus from the stands, sometimes it looks like it's flying high. Sometimes it kind of looks like it's kind of coming at an angle. You really want that discus to kind of take that perfect arc. So if you see that coming out of a competitor's hand, it's probably going to be a really good throw. So I'm aiming for that tomorrow, and I think that the weather's going to be good. The stadium's amazing. The competition's intense. That we could have some of that classic Hayward magic tomorrow.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us, Val. We'll let you go stay dry and rest up for tomorrow. It's going to be a big one.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Let's give it up for Val Allman, everybody.
Woo! Amazing. Thank you. It was so great to meet you. Good luck tomorrow.
I'll see you, Val. See ya. All right, we're going to bring on our next guest, who is a former world record holder world championship gold medalist in the road mile. Also just came away with a bronze medal at the World Indoor Championships. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Hobbs Kessler.
All right. Here we go. To that list, I almost wanted to add an amateur boxer after last week's race.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All right, do you think if it was anyone else, should they have gotten DQ'd?
No.
So you come away with a really strong 800. Like, what does that mean, kind of in the grand scheme of things, as you prepare for maybe war tomorrow? Is what it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, the training stimulus from it was super helpful, but also just like the mental practice executing. So, and I have a little more confidence in my fitness now. So, feeling ready to go. So I was confident last week. I'm more confident this week.
Yeah, walk us through that confidence, because in this field tomorrow, I mean, it is just stacked, you know, and it's got all the, you know, the usual suspects at the today during the press conference, but we've got people like, you know, Matthew Senchowitz, who are so experienced, and we've got some newcomers.
We just pulled out, but yeah.
Oh, he did. Well,
it's all good.
All right. Well, talking about the youngsters, you know, there's a
someone younger than you in this race.
Can you believe that?
Is that a little weird?
Yeah, that's BS. Come on.
Yeah. What are you, maybe what some other people are bringing with experience, what are you bringing to the table here, knowing that you're just one of the younger kids on the crowd, and you want to make your mark?
Yeah, I mean, I'm confident and ready to go. So that's all you really have. Like, experience helps, but I'm getting it slowly, and I don't know. I think I can mix it up and compete, and finally have the fitness to be mixing it up.
Yeah.
Has it been just kind of like building since World Indoors, or was there a little bit of a break? Like, how did you structure your training so that, yeah, you want to perform well here tomorrow, but then at the same time, you know what matters is next month?
Yeah, I mean, the Olympic trials is definitely the top priority. I took like a week down or 2 weeks down, I can't remember, but detrained, done this strength work for the last couple of months, and really only recently have started hitting the track. So really keeping the Olympic trials in mind, but I think I have the fitness to go with the pace tomorrow and mix it up. But yeah, Olympic trials is the priority. So
I was going to say, how does that work with the speed work? Because from what we saw in last week's race, I mean, the speed is there, and you said you haven't really touched too much. What's that going to be like, you know, in the next couple weeks leading up to the trials? Well,
the goal is not to like fry myself with too much speed work. So I trust that it's there, and just keep doing what's working. I'm not one of those people that needs to do a ton of intervals to really get into race fitness. So I've actually struggled going the other way. I do too many intervals, and I leave my races in the session. So the goal is not to do that and show up ready, but not too ready.
Is your thing still right now, like, no run longer than 7 miles, is it?
Yeah, somewhere in that area. Yeah.
Now, is it sort of religious to the point where, like, you look at the watch and it's 7.01, you're like, all right, that was too much.
He's not jogging at stoplights.
No, not religious, but it is like just how I structure my weeks. I just don't like being out there for forever. It's just like I bonk kind of, so I found it more effective to just cut it in shorter runs.
Yeah. So for this time around, what is going to make for a successful showing for you in this race? Like, obviously, it would be amazing to come away with the win, but what else would make you happy? Is it sort of like, you know, top 5 and, you know, 346, 347, whatever it might be? Like, what? Like, do you have benchmarks in your head for what is a good showing tomorrow?
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. I mean, I don't really know how the race is going to go, but I mean, this is one of the most probably until the Olympic final, going to be the most talented field all year. So if I can mix it up and prove I'm on that level, I would consider that a great showing. So I don't really know what that means, but I just want to prove I'm in the conversation. Yeah,
well, I mean, they even touched on this at the press conference today, but how do you feel about that? I mean, this is, kind of something that doesn't happen very often, where you get this high level of caliber talent. Is this something you would love to see more of? Is this something that you think you would benefit from?
Yeah, I mean, this level of race in the U.S. is really awesome. Normally you have to go over to Europe to do that. So, like, trying to do that before the trials just wouldn't really be practical. So I'm just really happy there's something at this level, this time of the year on U.S. soil. It's perfect.
I know kind of when we did a podcast together, you know, a couple months back, you talked about how, like, managing your nerves and being nervous in the call room was like a challenge for a while. what have you done kind of to hone in on that mental side of the sport? Because I'm sure, like, if you look around and you see, like, there's the world champion, there's the Olympic champion, like, all these, there's the American record holder. Like, for some people, that would be a lot. But, like, for you to kind of collect yourself and stay present in the moment, what are you doing mentally?
Yeah, I mean, I would say just executing each race to the best of my ability. It's kind of like it's a skill that you can develop over time. So I feel like indoors, I ran a lot of races that I was really nervous for and still executed, and it just kind of like gave me more and more confidence that no matter what the circumstances are or how I'm feeling, I can execute. And I really felt that last week, and I'm feeling it this week. So I'm feeling like I can trust myself on the starting line to get it done. It's taken a while to get there. I mean, I've been running as a pro for, I guess, 2 or 3 years now, and this is the first time, this indoor season is the first time I'm starting to feel that come around, especially after World Indoors, like where I was really struggling and still made it happen. That like really was a huge breakthrough for me mentally, and I'm hoping that I'll retain the skill.
Yeah, and I was going to say, in addition to just having that confidence, any pre-race rituals that you've taken with, whether it was, in the last couple years as a pro, anything that you do kind of religiously to feel that ready and feel prepped?
No, I do different stuff every time.
You're not even like, oh, I always put on my right shoe first or anything like that? Nothing?
No, I kind of feel like once you're at the meet, your fate is sealed. Like there's nothing you can do to save yourself. Like maybe things you can do to harm yourself, but no combination of strides or anything will make any huge difference.
I listened to your appearance on Coffee Club. It was really funny. And I think one of the key things that, I took away was like, when you've got Josh and Jakob just like trading barbs like throughout the media for the last couple of months, you're just like, no, I like the uplifting side of the sport. And, the ability to, everyone rises to the occasion because of the talent of your fellow competitors. So, for you, I guess, where does that come from? Just like that kind soul of yours, Hobbs. So where's that from?
I got everyone fooled.
That's what he wants us to think.
Yeah,
I see a killer behind those eyes.
No, I think like starting running as a freshman in high school, the thing that really made me love it was being on the team and hanging out with everyone, and just how welcoming it was and how cool everyone was, and that's consistent all the way through to the pro level. Like as a high schooler running a few pro meets, like it made such a huge difference for me. Like I didn't feel like I belonged, and there were some people that really like went out of their way to make me feel welcome, and I just think that's a great part of the sport, and I don't want to undermine that in any sort of way. I think you can be great competitors and great friends at the same time. You don't have to like belittle each other or anything. Like I don't know, it's just not my style. I don't know, not for me.
Give us a team report. How are your teammates doing, and like what can we expect from the very nice track club over the next couple weeks?
I mean, we had 3 wins last weekend, so we are pretty excited about that. So
very nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I've heard that one before.
The dad's laugh.
No, I mean, I think everyone's doing good and ready for a good showing at the trials. So we're all kind of a little scattered as far as racing, but I think everyone will be ready at the trials, and hopefully we can have a few guys on the team. That'd be great.
Yeah, so confidence is the big thing that I kind of keep hearing from you. What else is different about Hobbs Kessler at the 2024 trials, but compared to, I remember, just in the fresh pro kit for the first time at the 21 trials, like that was you arriving on the scene wide-eyed. Like what else has changed aside from like the growth and confidence?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just like older, like physically more mature. I like to think mentally more mature. Who knows? But really, in 2021, like the decision to go pro kind of like cooked me. Like that was like all the emotional bandwidth I had. There was already so much excitement throughout the season. I was just kind of cooked. So by the time like I was on the starting line at the trials, I didn't have much to give. This year will be different. But I don't know. Some people have been able to like have all this excitement and still perform at a high level young. I couldn't. I needed a little more time to develop emotionally. So
what do you do? Because I feel like that's such a relatable thing for so many people here, whether you're a pro, whether you're an amateur, whether you're just starting out, to feel cooked, to feel fried, to feel, I just don't have that motivation. What do you say to yourself? What do you do to get yourself out of a funk?
Yeah, I mean, I think you just practice executing no matter how you feel. So you don't need to feel super poised or super nervous, or you don't have to feel any specific way to really execute effectively. And that's taken me a while to learn, but and it takes practice. But I think you can be on the start line feeling rough and just switch into that mode and get it done, and just make good decisions during the race and really put yourself in it. I have learned when you're feeling really rough, you got to make yourself a factor in the race. Like, you can't go to the back, because then like if you're not really like focused or motivated, you'll just lose it. So if you're having one of those rough days, you got to make yourself relevant in the race by like going to the front or making a move earlier or something like that to really force yourself to stay engaged.
So if there are people out there who are, walking around tomorrow with like a Team Jakob, Team Josh like t-shirt, like it's a Twilight movie, there would probably be, I would hope, Team Hobbs shirts,
I would hope that
or something
too,
like that,
but
right?
who knows?
I'm having them screen printed tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
But, hard question, why should they root for you? They've got all these options, but like, why should they be a Hobbs Kessler fan?
Give the Sharks a pitch.
Yeah, like these are your potential clients here.
You don't need to root for me, but it'd be cool if you did. I don't know. I'll try my best. I can guarantee that. That's about it.
Yeah, there we go.
Love that.
Look at that. You won him over already.
Yeah.
All right, Hobbs. We'll let you go interact with all of your fans now. But thank you for joining us, and best of luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Hobbs. Give it up for Hobbs Kessler, everybody.
Woo! All right, we're gonna take orders for those screen printed T-shirts after this. So.
Yeah. All right, and I think we've got one more guest. Oh, he's here. All right, and now we welcome on 12-time gold medalist, 0-time silver medalist,
How many bronze?
0-time bronze medalist, the one and only Michael Johnson, everybody.
Oh, wow. The sound system can't handle it.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Michael,
Hey,
great
Chris.
to see you.
How are you?
How's Kyle doing at his new job?
Kyle,
right.
Kyle's doing well.
All right.
Kyle's doing well. He's
Keeping
doing
him in
well.
line?
No.
All right.
No, I need to talk to you about that and get some tips on how to keep him.
I got
if
you.
that's even possible.
It's not possible.
Okay,
You'll
all
learn
right.
that very
Do your
quickly.
time. Do your time.
He was over there drinking a beer, so I was
Yeah,
like,
so
drinking on the job here? What are we preaching?
It's kind of how we roll, I guess.
All right, Michael. So obviously, you wear many hats. What brings you to Eugene this time around? Taking in what part of it is part fan, part working. I see the Morpho on your chest.
Yeah.
How do you find the time for all this?
You know what? It's when you're doing things that you love, you find the time. And then, so, yeah, I mean, I'm here at a track meet for work. I mean, it's just crazy, right? So that's easy work. Yeah, so I'm here with a Morpho. I'm an investor, and it's a great company. It's fantastic what they do. I fell in love with the product as soon as I tried it, and yeah, I mean it's microloading for athletes, fitness folks, wellness, and so I use it. And if you want one, you can just go right down the street and go pick up one.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now, I heard they're gonna have him in the Media 400. Are you like the honorary starter? Like what do they got out there? I'm not doing it. I'm not gonna pull a hamstring.
Come on.
I'm doing it to the mile afterwards.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I'm starting. I'm the honorary starter of the Media 400. Yeah, so we'll see. Hopefully everybody stays healthy. Nobody pulls anything out there.
There's gonna be pulled hamstrings.
There probably will be. Yeah.
Well, I just heard you're taking 5 seconds off the 400 for anyone wearing that vest.
I
And
think
was
that's
like,
the rule, right? Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you talked about, almost the sentiment of if you love what you do, you never have to work a day in your life. And I would just say, what's been the most rewarding experience so far?
I mean, I think for me, I've been able to stay connected to the sport since I retired as a television commentator for BBC. It's been 22 years now that I've been working for BBC. It allows me to be at all of the major championships, involved with the sport. I love this sport, so my ability to stay connected to it is very special. I feel very, very fortunate to be able to stay involved with the sport, and in my role now, trying to help elevate the sport as well with a new league that we're launching next month. We'll launch. Can't talk much about that at this point, but really excited about that. I think this is the right time. The sport is at, I think, an amazing point where we've got just an amazing collection of personalities in the sport. And what you see going on generally around sport in the world, and the investment into sport and media around sport just makes it an amazing time for our sport to actually elevate itself as well.
So you talked about like the personalities. I see it on Twitter. Like you even got like hooked on, this Bowerman Mile that'll be taking place, and just like, the trash talk over the last couple months. And so, what do you kind of pull from what those guys are doing as something that is an element that you would love to see just in other potential, disciplines within the sport?
Well, I think tomorrow's race, we're really fortunate in this race to have all of the, sort of greats currently, in that race tomorrow. So, you can focus more on, just competition as opposed to, focusing on times and whether or not someone's going to break a record. I mean, we know the difference here, is this, in that race tomorrow, we're all going to watch and we're going to get a payoff. We're going to get rewarded with the fact that all of those guys want to win. Several of them have the chance to win. None of us knows who's going to win, and only one of them is going to win, and we're going to get that payoff. We're going to get to see that, as opposed to, well, there may be a world record tomorrow or an American record. We may not get that. Most of the time, we won't get that. And that's just a false hope that we don't need to get involved with, and it just complicates things. Look, at the end of the day, people just want to see people race, and look, I saw the press conference, it's like, come on.
You wanted more fireworks. Me too.
I just want people to feel comfortable saying as athletes that, yeah, I want to win. And that's okay. And be unapologetic about the fact that they want to win, because if you don't say you want to win and you don't make that known and you don't feel passionate about that, how can you expect fans to feel passionate about it?
Yeah.
Right? So we just have to create an environment where the athletes feel like it's a safe environment to say, yeah, I want to win. I don't want to lose to any of these guys. I want to win. I want to be the one. And that's okay. You're not going to win every race.
Yeah.
I mean, I did.
All right, 12-timer club over here.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So then if we flip it to the sprints, right? We don't have as much of that right now. Like, where is the area for improvement there?
I mean, look.
Noah's doing his job, right? Like in terms of just talking.
Noah's doing his job, but so let's talk about the women's 100 meters tomorrow. So the women's 100 meters is where it's at right now, period. There are some great athletes there. They don't have to talk because they're all such dynamic personalities in them in their own right, and they make it known. Yeah, I want to win, and you don't have to be ugly. You don't have to be nasty to be rivals. You just have to make it known that, yeah, I want to win, and they all make it known that they want to win. It's amazing to watch. Women's 100 meters tomorrow will be fantastic. I'm really looking forward to the women's 100 meters in Paris as well. And that's another thing. This race tomorrow in itself is special. It's not this whole idea that every race is a stepping stone to the major championship, later. It's like people are here. They want to, if you tell them tomorrow that this is all about what's going to happen later this summer, then their question is, well, why did I come out and watch this?
Yeah.
Sure.
This is special.
Yeah.
Well, when you talk about just the personalities, I want to know specifically for you, what's your predictions, for tomorrow?
You're way too early predictions. I guess like for tomorrow, for the trials, for Paris. Give it all.
Yeah.
I told somebody not too long ago, every prediction in track and field is a way too early prediction.
Yeah, it is.
You never know what's going to happen.
Even during the race, yeah. Even when they cross the line, still too early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not great at predictions.
Isn't that funny? Like the people closest to the sport, like, even when they open up gambling, it's like, I lost money on track.
Everybody loses money in gambling.
Yeah. I know. Can't always win there either.
It's good money. It's good money to lose, though.
It is. It makes it fun.
About your pick.
Yeah, exactly. You got to back it up. All right, but yeah, don't duck my question. Who you got?
I do not know. I seriously don't. I mean, that's the thing I love about this. The two races that I'm most interested in seeing tomorrow are the women's 100 meters and the men's mile. And I cannot tell you who's going to win those races, which is why I'm so excited about watching them. And the reason I can't, I'm an expert commentator. When you're an expert commentator, you know so much that you know that I can't pick any of these people.
Yeah.
I can't pick any of them because I can give you a reason why 4 or 5 people in that race could potentially win it.
Yeah. You go to bed with one prediction, you wake up, you got a whole nother prediction. That's just how it goes.
Exactly.
Well, and we buy into these, personalities. We can see the journey. We talked a lot about social media. We can see we've a lot more access, I think, to these athletes than we ever have before. From your experience, from being on the scene, maybe not having that access to your competitors, not having that access to, the competition, just fellow, runners. What do you think that evolution has done for the sport?
Oh, I think it's been great. I mean, the only thing that I'm jealous about with these athletes is they do have social media and they have the opportunity to, sort of connect with their fans in a way that we had to rely on traditional media, and they have that opportunity. And I think that the athletes in track and field are doing a great job with that. So I think that it has really changed the fan-athlete relationship, which is very important. And I think that, so many of these athletes are doing a great job with that. And I think that the sport itself needs to sort of jump on that and put a little bit more fuel on that fire, and that's what we're going to try to do.
So, when you bring up, you wish you had social media, how different would your Twitter account, the way it is now, have been when you were an athlete?
Yeah, how many gold medals would you have had to put in that bio at that time?
The fun part is you'd be updating it all the time.
You know what? I'm a very different person now than I was when I was an athlete. So I think that my Twitter would probably be a lot more. It'd probably be pretty boring, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say what. It's hard to say what my. That's a good question. I never thought about what it would have been like. I'd like to think that it would have been pretty dynamic, but something tells me maybe not so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are some of the characteristics that you kind of, remember from your days and your competitors that you see now, all right, that guy reminds me of this guy, and this guy reminds me of that guy?
Oh, that's a good one. There are definitely some athletes like that. I think, yeah, like Frankie Fredericks was my main competitor. Christian Coleman reminds me of Frankie Fredericks. Just kind of quiet, goes about their business, not going to talk a lot, Fred Curley kind of reminds me of Dennis Mitchell a little bit, Definitely got the bravado going, going to try to psych out the other competitors. Who else?
Who does Noah remind you of?
Yeah, who was like Noah?
I would say, who would have had beef too? Who do you think would have been
Carl.
the most?
Someone said Carl there.
Yeah, you know what? Carl might be the closest thing, but Noah's very different than Carl was in that Noah definitely knows what he's doing. The great thing about Noah is he calls his shot and he goes out there and he backs it up. And there aren't a lot of people in the history of track and field that have done that, except for me.
Yeah, I know. All right.
Wow.
Well, Michael, tomorrow you'll be in the stands. What do you like as a fan, watching these meets? I know sometimes you have to be in the broadcaster role, but are there times where you're just losing it as well? You're like, whoa, that was awesome.
There's a famous clip of me, losing it, watching my own world record being broken by you.
Okay, yeah.
And because the fan, you can't help it.
Yeah.
I'm doing my job mostly when I'm at track meets, so I'm constantly, analyzing, but the fan in you is still there. And the great thing is I get to be a fan in my job.
Yeah.
So that makes it really special as well. But yeah, I enjoy a great race just like anyone else. For me, the thing that gets me most excited is when, the races come down to the wire. And it's just, you see two athletes, again, only one can win in this sport. And you see the two athletes just battling it out for that victory.
Yeah. I guess my final question is, obviously you said, removing the element of, focusing on time is, a big thing that is a shiny toy that fans can fall into the trap of constantly focusing on. But I guess for the people here who are going to be watching in person or for the people who will be tuning in on TV, how is it that you can change your experience as a viewer watching a race to appreciate it more?
Yeah, I think, and it's hard.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard for fans because there isn't much time during track meets because there's so much happening that the actual setup that allows you to invest in a particular athlete or know, okay, I know what's happening. I know who's in the race. I know what this person's bringing to it. I know what this person's bringing to it, to be able to say that, hey, I think that guy's going to win, and then focus on who's going to win. It's hard. And television commentators need to help with that, but when they sort of bring you into a race and immediately only start talking about one athlete and put the camera on that athlete and say, they've got a chance to break a record today. Let's see if they do it. And, and then the race starts and you haven't even been told who else is in that race. Then, you're going to look, I've been in the business for 22 years, as I said, our job as television commentators is to help the viewer have a much more richer experience and a better experience, and to sort of let the action do its talking, but to present the action to the fan. And we just need to do a better job in that in the sport.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, even talking about like this Olympic year coming up, I think it's very easy for people to jump on that bandwagon of being so excited for track and field. What can we do, not only just at the meet, but during the course of the 4 years in between, the 3.5 years in between, to get people excited?
Follow CITIUS MAG, right?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah, I think we do need more, we need more platforms like CITIUS. We need more,
Say it into the camera.
Which camera? Which
camera, Mac?
Which
this
camera
one?
are you
Right
filming this advertisement on this commercial for CITIUS for? We need more people to watch CITIUS MAG. You getting that, Chris?
That's the clip. Cut it.
Yeah, that's the second time we got it. So we got multiple commercials now.
Right.
We just need a fresh one.
All right, cool. Now I'm going to send you an invoice.
I got it. I gave you Kyle already.
Yeah, that's true. You did. I'm going to have to give him back, though. So
I don't know if we want him back.
What we can do in between is, more platforms like this. We need more dynamic, sort of storytelling around the sport that gets fans. We need to capture that casual fan as opposed to just the avid fan. The avid fan is already there. We need that casual fan. Like, I'm a casual tennis fan. I'm going to watch Wimbledon. I'm going to watch the U.S. Open. I'm not going to watch all of the other tournaments, just the big ones. And I'm probably not going to watch even all of those, but I will drop in and watch, as a casual fan. We need that in track and field, as opposed to everything being focused only on the major championships, because that message that we're sending to that fan is that that's all that matters. And these meets don't matter. If you keep telling people that this is a stepping stone, which I literally heard somebody say on the local news when I was in my hotel today, oh, this is a stepping stone to Paris. You're going to get some people that come out and watch the stepping stone, but you're not going to get the casual fan that goes, I don't really want to see a stepping stone. I want to see the real deal.
Yeah. All right. Well, Michael, I appreciate you taking the time to join us. Some people got to start stretching for this 400, and then you got your duties as the honorary starter, but I appreciate you stopping by, and I'm looking forward to all the exciting announcements you got coming up pretty soon, too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Michael Johnson,
Thank you
everybody.
so much, Michael Johnson. Woo-hoo. Yeah, thank you so much. It was great to meet you.
All right. I think that does it for our pre-race show here at Hayward Field. We've got the stack of tickets, so if anyone's looking for either an upgrade or if you don't have a ticket for tomorrow, we do have some here for section 119. But I want to thank everyone for coming out. Thank you to TrackTown for allowing us to do the show now for the second consecutive year. We've got a nice tradition going. Might have to just keep this thing going year in and year out.
I don't think it's by accident we're next to the beer garden too.
I know, yeah.
I think that's crucial here.
We got to get to that before last call. But thanks everyone for tuning in, and thanks to the people who came on out, and enjoy the races tomorrow. And yeah, I love track and field.
I love track and field. You heard it here first.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.